besides like Mighty Morphin or something.
I really liked the Dino Charge.
Hmm?
Yeah, that's the one with Coda, right?
Yeah.
I really like him. I was like, I don't want to be a caveman, fight and be a good person.
Yoshi's a good guy.
Yeah.
And what about you? Because I heard that Jackie said she liked RPM. I guess.
RPM was really, that was actually
that was
that's
my
really
favorite as
yeah.
well. RPM, and I
Yeah.
watched Dino Charge and Ninja Steel.
I think RPM was like the most I think the acting was really grounded and really real.
I love the look of it, how it was filmed. It was a little darker, the sets.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
Red tint. I dug it too. It was like Mad Max almost.
Yeah.
There's a Green Ranger.
Really? That's insane.
It is insane.
For
Insane.
real?
If there was a Green Ranger showing up, what would you want that Green Ranger's animal to be?
Oh, what would I want? What should if there was? If there was, let's think of the green animals out there. There's a frog. Hi, I'm Christina Ho. I play Betty on Beast Morphers.
Hi, I'm Abraham Rodriguez, aka AV Baby, aka Nate Silva, aka the Gold Ranger on Beast Morphers.
And follow Cosmic Patron. Oh. Hi, I'm Christina Ho. I play Betty on Beast Morphers.
Hi, I'm Abraham Rodriguez, aka AV Baby, aka Nate Silva, aka the Gold Ranger on Beast Morphers.
And you should follow Cosmic Protector
on Patreon.
Hi, I'm Christina Ho, and I play Betty on Beast Morphers.
Hi, I'm Abraham Rodriguez, aka AV Baby, aka the Gold Ranger. Oh, I already messed up my intro.
Hi, I'm Christina Ho, and I play Betty on Beast Morphers.
Hi, I'm Abraham Rodriguez, aka AV Baby, aka Nate Silva, aka the Gold Ranger on Beast Morphers.
And you should follow Cosmic Protectors on Patreon!
No, not gonna do it.
Yep. You were gonna do it, but
Welcome to the Ranger wrap up right here at the Illuminerdi. We are here to talk about Beast Morphers and its conclusion, the last 5 episodes. Count them 5. Is it 5 episodes?
I think it was.
I feel like it was 7 episodes. It's actually 7 episodes, Jezzer. Since the last time we were live, 7 episodes.
Oh, 7 episodes. Did you get through all 7?
I finished all of them. I finished all 7 episodes. How you guys doing? Corey, how you doing, buddy? Why are you doing that Aquatar thing with your hand?
I don't know.
Because he's the real Blue Ranger and not that other guy.
How come I can't be a Red Ranger?
What do you mean? Why can't you be a Red Ranger? Because you're the Blue Ranger. What's his name?
The Ranger's black. I gotta be the black guy.
Exactly. That's what I said.
They say I am very, very low. Anyway, welcome to the Range wrap up. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday. All the people in the chat. We already got people I know. Thea Gates, Black Wing in here. Thomas Franco, Jose. Who's audio on?
Huh?
You hear that? Like the echo?
No.
Says the volume's a little low. Here, I can actually have a solution to that. Continue talking while I do this solution.
Hold on. I gotta check. Because the volume's low. Corey, ready for Beast Morphers to be over? LOL.
It is over.
The Ranger Volt is in here. Volume is low, Joe. Glad to be here. Glad you're here.
Are you sure it's low? Is that an old one? What the fuck?
Saturday evening. I'm guessing if more than one person said it, it must be true. Anyway, we are here live talking about Power Rangers. What if we don't talk about Power Rangers this week?
No, it's
what if
pretty
we
loud.
talk about the
guys are deaf as
COVID in
hell.
Florida? How many people in this chat are from Florida? I want to know that. How many Florida mans are in here right now on this very date? I would like to know that. Oh, none of you guys are from Florida? Well,
I'm
fuck.
never claiming Florida. I don't claim Florida as a state. Florida is a cesspool of it's pretty much the hills have eyes over there.
Yeah, it's not cool. Florida is it is what it is. But the Rona is bad over there in Texas. There's also cases on the rise right here in California. You didn't tune in to hear about the Rona. You tuned in to hear about Power Rangers. So we're going to talk about it right here. Beast Morphers. That is right. Beast Morphers.
Power Ranger.
Now,
Red Battle Force.
Since this is a retrospective on what we expected from Beast Morphers, I want to start it from the top and ask you guys a very simple question. That question is, when listen to this. Putting headphones on for you guys. So the question I have for you guys is, did you think from the beginning, when we were sitting at Morphicon all together, did you think in the beginning that this is the season we were going to get? And Jezzer, now that the story is done, without the big team up episode, does it still stand up? Let's start there.
Okay. Why do I hear an echo? Why am I hearing?
Should I put earphones in too, or what?
Is that
No.
Who's on that? Whose echo is that? The fuck?
Anyway, anybody want to answer my question? Corey?
Okay. At Morphicon, I'm just blinded by excitement for the new cast, so I'm not really thinking about the season, you know? But once the first episode airs, then I'm like, I come back down to reality, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching Power Rangers. So let me relax a little bit.
How about you, Jezzer? Did this season live up to expectation for you?
Like you're saying, take out the crossover stuff?
Yeah, because that's the question you would always do. Can it stand on its own as a good season without the crossover?
Listen, I feel like towards the end of the second season, they really leaned into a lot of the Beast Morpher aspect of it, and the fact that they didn't do that throughout the whole series was kind of like iffy. I'm trying to look at the series without the crossover thing. So I mean, you got to keep the RPM stuff. You have to keep in there because it was essential to the story. You actually, so I have to keep all the RPM stuff, and that's.
If you take out the Dino stuff.
If you take out the Dino stuff, does it still hold up?
Yeah, I think it's a decent enough series. I don't think it's the best series, but like the title of the stream says this is actually a sequel series, and it kind of like leans into
like indirect sequel.
A what?
Indirect sequel.
Well, it's kind of I mean, Eovox is Vengeance. It's a sequel. It's still. Still existing.
What's really the difference between a sequel and a follow-up?
Well, a sequel is a continuation of a story with the same characters. Like a follow-up, you taking elements from a different story and telling something new. Kind of like Captain America. Like, let's say Avengers, the next Avengers movie, that's the sequel. Age of Ultron is the sequel to Avengers. But then you can look at Captain America. Captain America was in the Avengers, but his story doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what's going on in the Avengers movies.
It had everything to do with what was going on in the Avengers movies.
Huh?
It had everything to do with what was going on in the Avengers movies.
It's more so about Captain America as opposed to the Avengers as a group. You get what I mean?
To me, I feel we're talking schematics just because it's not called Power Rangers RPM 2.
Yeah.
Like, I think that if that's the case, if we're going on that theory, then you can't look at Infinity War or you can't look at Endgame as a sequel to Infinity War because it's focused on different characters also, kind of.
Like the way I look at it, would it kind of be the same situation that Pirates of the Caribbean had, where even after Orlando Bloom left and Keira Knightley left, it was still a sequel to the other ones because it had at least one connecting person to it. So I mean, Eovox is technically the one person that connects the two series together. So I feel like it is a sequel.
I agree. I also feel like it's a sequel series for the simple fact that a lot of the same themes carried over, and even as we know, some of the same characters carried over, even in terms of the villain. I think I would consider that a sequel.
Mm-hmm. It's like one of those sequels where you don't get all the main cast back. And
right.
Those are usually not the best ones.
What's that?
I said those are usually the lamest ones.
Not necessarily.
I feel that this show did a really good job of paying homage to the tradition that Power Rangers has kind of set us upon. I think the show did a really good job of doing callbacks and really paying fan service. I think that it is, I think that it's
there was some missteps and maybe some mistakes taken throughout the course of the show, but overall, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, like the second half of the season after the crossover, it had at least maybe 5 dud episodes that could have been done with, but they added little pieces in there that they wrap up towards the end. So like the fact that they kept that in their mind, and the fact that the series, the last few episodes of the series, were all interconnected with each other, and they all had like plot points that that finished off on the last episode. I think that was decent, but there was a lot of minutes where they could have just not did those episodes, like the freaking going ape episode with Roxy and Rav.
Yes,
that was a garbage episode. The one where Nate meets his parents. I mean, that had really no effect on anything going forward. And same with like that fossil one where
all of a sudden she had a brother. I'm like, oh.
yeah.
It's not well, I mean, look, we're gonna get into the nitpicky things, and I think that if we start nitpicking without prefacing it, then it turns into, oh, we're hating on this. It's like, that's not the case.
No, I'm not hating on it. I said you could have used those episodes to build up more of the story that they're building towards with Eovox. But
yeah, but at the end of the day, you got to think it's Power Rangers, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a Power Rangers season, a full Power Ranger season that has been one continuous long story without like filler episodes?
Would you say MMPR, Corey?
No,
MMPR is
nothing but filler.
Nothing but filler. Like there's, I would venture to say that MMPR had, the first season had 60 episodes. In that 60 episode stretch, I think maybe 10, possibly like anywhere between 8 and 10 episodes had like second parters or continued episodes. All other 50 were about.
I would say season 3 is the only season without any fillers, because that was hard on the changing of Pink Rangers, new ninja powers, and then they went into the Zeo.
Well, all right, so let's break it down. I'm going to go one by one, because I think that if we can get into the flow of the show, it's going to be a little bit easier. So let's take it back. Let's take it from where we left off. We ended on Grid Connection.
Mm-hmm.
What was the next episode after that?
Golden Opportunity. It's the Gold Ranger episode.
Let's talk about Golden Opportunity. This is the one where Nate's parents come back. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So first and foremost, this was a filler episode. I really think that overall, I like the episode because I like Nate. If you look at the season as a whole, Nate is the main character, and it parallels, for all of you fans that say this is not a sequel, it's a follow-up. It actually parallels the same exact journey. Well, not same exact, but it parallels Dylan's journey that he went on in RPM. If you look at that, he was also not a Red Ranger that the story focused on, just like this did. If you actually look at this whole season, it was focused around Nate. I think that the buildup of him not, like his whole parents thing, for being like, hey, we're here and we're leaving again, I think it was a bit of a letdown. I was wondering what they were going with that, but I feel like they needed to cover their asses because they had mentioned that his parents left to begin with. But even so, we know that Nate is pretty self-sufficient.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to take the episode out and not even have it be on the list of episodes, it wouldn't have made a difference at all. So that's it was just fun to see the interaction that he had with the team. And what I enjoyed about the series is there was a sense of drama or urgency with some of the storylines, and I thought that was pretty bold of the writers to do with a series like Power Rangers. I mean, we totally, like, the tone was totally different than the last team with Ninja Steel. Totally different. Like the whole.
Well, I think the biggest thing that they did in this season that I thought was pretty cool was you're right, the tone was completely different, Jezer. So it took RPM's story beats a little bit, and they never made them as dark as RPM. They brought it into the general Power Ranger world that we're familiar with the RPM undertone in there, but they mixed the RPM tone with the tone that we normally get in a typical Power Ranger season. I actually think they navigated that pretty well. It's just some of these filler episodes were kind of out of place. Like, I really didn't care that much about like literally. I know two things about Ravi, is that he's an artist and he goes out with Roxy.
Yep,
I
and
don't know anything else.
he's gonna grow up to have some domestic abuse issues going forward.
Why?
His
Is that
anger is
rage?
just like gorilla DNA got him going wild.
Yeah, he's Roxy's gonna end up coming to the grid battle force with some bruises and trying to cover it up. Like, oh, nothing happened.
Yeah, so that episode, I thought it was fine. I thought it was a decent episode. Again, a Nate-focused episode. If you look at the majority of Beast Morphers, it's Nate-focused episodes. What did you guys kind of pick apart on that episode with Nate and his parents?
Nothing really.
I mean, I didn't hate that one. I just thought that episode could have came. That could have been like a season 1 episode.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you think about
this episode late in the season, there should be no fillers. The last few episodes of the season, there should be none.
Wait,
Yeah.
so wait a minute. Whoa. We're talking a 7-episode stretch, and you don't think there's going to be any filler?
Nah, it shouldn't be.
7 episodes, so that's almost half of your whole season.
No, all right. Put it this way: if they're going to be filler, they need to be at the head, not towards the end.
I mean, at that point, what's it really matter, though?
You can't. I mean, it's just weird.
Look,
It's weird with the pacing. You get what I mean?
I think what it comes down to is that people have to realize that Power Rangers is not it's not a serialized storytelling platform. It's episodic based, which means that a great example of that is that somebody in here earlier said Power Rangers in Space and Lost Galaxy had a lot of like back-to-back episodes that tie together. They actually didn't. Space has a shit ton of filler episodes in there, and so does Lost Galaxy. So I think Power Rangers very specifically isn't built, at least right now in the current landscape Power Rangers is in. It's not built for serialized storytelling, mainly because nobody really watches it when it comes on anyway. Look, let's get real, guys. We're not going to watch this when it airs in America. We're not.
I may rewatch it again. It'll be a while.
You're not. Out of the three of us, you're gonna be the one that's not gonna rewatch it again.
I'm gonna watch it. You think I'm not? I'm gonna rewatch it.
Out of the three of us, you're gonna watch it. You're gonna be the one that's gonna watch it over again.
Yeah.
You're crazy. Anyway, so I thought this episode was decent. I like the fact that they don't leave a dangling plot thread there with Nate's parents. We actually get to know who Nate's parents are a little bit, even though it seems like they're shit human beings. But regardless, like it seems like, you know, it's a fine episode. I give that episode a solid 3.
Yeah, I give it out of 5. I'll give it a 2.5.
What about you, Corey? What does that even mean? 4?
Motherfucker, it's a 3.
Just use your words, man.
3. Okay, so we're gonna give that a 3. We want to know. I mean, we're gonna really blaze, no pun intended, get through these episodes quite quickly. Yeah. So in the chat, I want to know what you guys give that episode. What was our next? Are we gonna spend a lot of time talking about each episode? Or
No,
just talk about
I think no, I don't think we should. That's why I kind of grouped it together, because there's just a ton of just short episodes that if we were dedicated a whole stream to it, it'd be a loss. Like the next one, Going Ape, the Ravi and Roxy episode.
This was the worst out of the bunch, though.
Terrible.
This was the worst out of the bunch, and I feel so bad for Jazz. What's his name? Jazzmeat.
I don't know what his name.
But anyway, I feel bad for the dude because I feel like he gets nothing really in this whole season.
Yeah.
Like he gets nothing, and even when he's portrayed, like even when it's his focused episode, it always makes him look way worse than he did going into it. Yeah. And it's just a shame. But anyway, a lot of you guys are chiming in on the last episode. We just reviewed episode number 14. Ranger Danger gives it a 2.5. Wow, it's going fast. 2.5. Shake Era gives it a 3. Jonathan gives it a 3. Pikachu Master gives it a 3. The Blur gives it a 2. Mikey gives it a 2. There you go. Yes, let's get to this one. This
Going Ape.
Going Ape.
I'll give it a 2.
I'm gonna give it a 2. I just feel that here's the thing. I think what Beast Morphers does very well is it highlights Nate, and there's no excuse that Ravi shouldn't have been a bigger character. I would even say same thing with Chloe. I think that both of those characters needed a little bit more focus. And to say that, oh, well, they didn't have enough time, bullshit. They got me to care about that fucking robot Cruz more than I cared about Ravi. and they did that in one episode.
Yep.
So
I felt bad when he was when Blaze was giving Cruz shit. I was like, man, leave him alone.
I know, me too. I was like, man, I felt like I wanted to punch Blaze too. No joke. Not only is that the best, some of the best acting we've seen from everybody in that episode, but it also makes you care. It makes you care about Blaze because you think that the guy's a douchebag, even though it's not him, and it makes you care about Cruz. Not Chloe. I didn't mean Chloe. Whatever the Yellow Ranger's name is. I don't say Zoe. Come on, guys. You get the fuck with the program. You know what I'm talking about.
It's Chloe, Joe. It's Zoe, Joe.
Anyway, what I was going to say is that it does a very good job of making you care about characters very short amounts of time. But other characters that are main characters throughout the whole series, it does not make you care.
Like, going back to that Cruz episode, I thought that is really cool that they had the interaction, even though it wasn't Blaze, the interaction between Blaze and Devon about who should be, it's kind of hinting like, oh, you shouldn't be the Red Ranger. I was initially chosen to be the Red Ranger. Something that they didn't really explore throughout the whole series after Blaze came back from being Blaze in the first season.
Oh my God. So I really do like this. I really do like Beast Morphers as a whole. Mm-hmm. But there are problems with it. And one of them is that exactly. Why are Roxy and Blaze not used for anything besides, like, Roxy becomes, besides being her villain counterpart, Roxy becomes just arm candy for Ravi. Mm-hmm. And then Blaze is just kind of like going off doing whatever he wants. Why are they not contributing behind the scenes? What?
Did you hear me?
No.
I did his Konnichiwa thing in his phone call.
Oh. I mean,
bye.
there's a couple of things that just could have been better.
Yeah.
Just could have been a little bit better. So that was that. Look for that episode though with Ravi. It doesn't get high marks for me. No. I do want to talk about where Steel and Nate switch bodies though, because no joke, I like that episode a lot, and I like the musical aspect of it because it's just different.
It's a fun filler. It's definitely a fun filler, and it touches on a thing that they've been talking about the whole series of Steel wanting to be human. It's kind of like Pinocchio, he wants to be a real boy, and they go.
He did it, Operation Overdrive.
Well, I'll talk about how I personally think this series should have ended later, but the one thing that caught me completely off guard was the musical scene, but the way it was shot was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like, they actually did a really good job of shooting it and making it look like a High School Musical or something.
Yeah, it really felt like that, and it looked like Abraham had the best time just doing that whole episode. Yeah, it just looked like so much fun. So I'll give that a 3.5 or a 4 because I mean it's not it doesn't carry on into the story, but it's still a fun filler episode. Unlike the next one,
I couldn't agree more. Four for me too. Yeah. I thought that episode was fun. I liked the acting in it, and I had a great message. I think that was a lot of fun. I want to see more. If they're gonna do 40 episodes for 2 years, you can take your time out and give me one episode, every 2 years like that.
And there are a ton of series that are on like CW or ABC where they'll have that one fun episode where they'll have like a musical episode or they'll have a what is it, LA Noire episode, or will they just insert it into there.
Zio did it for Tanya and Tommy. They had a whole singing thing in it.
Yeah.
So like those episodes are fun, and I thought it was the big. I got to give big credit to whoever the cinematographer and director were. They shot that beautifully. Like that is they choreographed it. Everybody, it looked really good.
Yeah,
it looked really good.
Definitely. And the next one is so what did you give that one? What did you give it?
Me, I gave it a 4. Corey, how about you?
Yeah, it was fine. I don't really have a score for it. I didn't hate it.
Okay. Next one that they did is the Fossil Frenzy one, where her brother shows up. I thought that was wonky and weird, and oh, here, grab the orange bottle. It's that you, and it said like it's a big.
That bothered me a lot. It melted everything else but the table.
Maybe the table is resistant to that. But it was like if like this is the same situation with the one where Nate's parents come in. If you take this out, it has no effect whatsoever on the series, or like the storyline going towards the finale. We find out that Zoe has a brother, but I mean, what big deal? I don't know.
Is this
Yeah,
the one with
I agree.
Blaze gets the power up?
Huh?
Is this the one with Blaze gets the power up?
I think what you call it gets a power up.
Roxy, right?
No, Blaze got one too. He stole the Morphex, and he was like super strong.
Yeah. See, the thing with those power ups is it's so like the look of the character is so subtle that we don't really notice it sometimes. Like I didn't know Blaze got a power up. I didn't know Roxy got one until she started looking all funky and weird. Maybe they should have like changed the color or something, or made them, I don't know, bigger. I don't know. That's a thing that I didn't really care for.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it was fine.
Yeah.
Think it was fine. I think the episode definitely is going to end up tying into Dino Fury though, and I think that it'll be a callback for to leave it open for that.
Definitely. I think that the whole letting Scrozzle live is gonna play into Dino Fury a little bit. We'll see.
Do you think so?
Why bother?
What Earth is Beast Morphers? Beast Morphers is on the Prime Earth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you look so confused by that?
I don't know, because you said it'll tie in. Then I was like, wait, what Earth are they on?
Well, we don't know what Dino Fury is gonna be on.
Really, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
He's just like you're seeing Corey's like brain work right now, and he's just speaking out what he's thinking, but he has no.
Yeah.
I certainly hope that they do something to tie it in, because if not, it's just a simple throwaway episode that doesn't make much sense with the placement of it. So I think that if they're being smart, they're already planting the seeds for Dino Fury. If they're not, then it's a throwaway episode that has no implications on any of our story, because not only does this fossil mean nothing essentially, but also her brother means nothing, and we don't even know. Like, I didn't even know she had a brother.
Nope.
Like, so it just kind of comes out of left field. Other than that, though, if they do tie it together, which I can see happening, I can see that happening mainly because I feel like they're putting some forethought into the episodes. With that being said, a lot of the creative team that did Beast Morphers is no longer at Hasbro.
No.
So we have to take that, into consideration. And yeah, so we're gonna be releasing some big Power Ranger news next week. I actually got 2 bits of news that we've been working on.
Yeah.
But
Chloe's brother to be the Blue Ranger.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know. I just wasn't the biggest fan of the placement of that episode is weird. Like, I felt like that episode, I would have liked it at the beginning of season 1, because now we kind of get to see more of Chloe, I keep calling her Chloe, Zoe's family. See more of that. But I think it would have made more sense there.
You didn't like the dog eating a hot dog with putting the ketchup on the hot dog?
That honestly reminded me of VR Troopers.
That's so freaking weird. That's the weirdest thing that they did. And I keep forgetting that Devon's like fear of dogs because of his cheetah thing. So it just looks weird. He's just like what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, what is this?
No, it was very bizarre.
They did that 3 times. I kept count. 3 times.
He's like, what the fuck are you guys doing with that? That's so wonky
3
and
times
weird.
out of 2 seasons, they brought it up.
It's so weird. So freaking weird. So the next one was a pretty cool episode, I thought. It was the one where Blaze starts influencing Devon and how he leads the team.
Couldn't agree more. I love this episode. This episode's a solid 5 for me for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
Number 1, it actually, like Colby Strong, it actually lets him act, and he's pretty good at it. In terms of Power Rangers, like, he's very good in this episode. Number 2, Cruz, again, I saw more character development in Cruz than I had in half of the team in this one episode. There's more emotion in Cruz than there is in half the team in this one episode.
Yep.
And also, I love the fact that, of course, Devon will listen to Blaze because Blaze was going to be the Red Ranger, and he's like, well, you know what? Yeah, of course I should listen to him. He was going to be the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
Brilliant episode. Great pacing, and honestly, great reveal that Blaze wasn't there. Because even if people can say, oh, I expected that to happen, I like the fact that you'd never know because Blaze comes in is kind of an asshole. Mm-hmm. So it kind of makes sense that even if he didn't, he was just being a stern leader. I get it. I really liked the episode.
Yeah, and you really felt like when Cruz went down, you felt like, oh man, he could actually die or pass away or whatever. Like you felt there's like this sense of urgency with what they were doing inside that little hangar, and just the whole the end scene where Eovox was in the cage, the way that they shot it, it looked really good. Like the tone changed. The tone changed from the past few the episodes leading up to this. It felt like, oh man, this guy's menacing. The tone of the series changed, and you kind of feared Eovox a little bit.
Daniel Romano actually has a comment here. He says, I wish people would stop acting as if the Beast Bots are human. They are not humans. They are robots. They are like droids in Star Wars. Well, Guess what? They also treat droids in Star Wars like humans.
Yep.
Like they talk to them just like humans. So, I mean, it's the same
They're sentient.
thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Huh?
look at what
Look at Alpha 5.
Yeah, look at what Michael Bay did with Transformers and how he made the audience fall in love with Bumblebee, some character that in the 80s you wouldn't give a second thought to, because that's just how you write it. So that whole comment is like, oh, they're robots. That's kind of like what the hell?
Organisms.
Huh?
I said actually Transformers are robotic organisms.
Shut the fuck up, man. What the hell? Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
Well, you know what? But droids in Star Wars aren't. And I think that if we're comparing the two, I feel like it's the same thing. I feel that I don't know, man. I feel that there's always gonna be people that nitpick, and that's completely fine. But
hold on. Not really. Remember when C-3PO couldn't get into the cantina? It's because the people that ran the cantina are like you, bud. You're
droids stand outside.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a I feel like that's such a minor thing to nitpick because true, they can't come inside with the rest of them in Star Wars in the cantina, but when spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet, Rise of Skywalker, C-3PO literally says, I want to say goodbye to my friends for the last time. And if he's just a droid, then he has no emotions. If he has no emotions, then why is he saying that line?
Yep.
It just doesn't quite add up. And Alpha is not different because Alpha's a goddamn robot. He's made of machine parts.
Literally,
Alpha
is you're debunking your first statement, Daniel, when you're saying Alpha is different. No, they're literally Alpha and Cruz are literally the same type of character. It's the same type of character, and you're saying that they don't matter. It's well, okay, that makes no freaking sense.
Let's go on to. I'm going to talk about this episode because I think that one thing. Look, everyone can be very critical of this because they can be like, oh, you know what, the Rangers. It was kind of easy to take Eovox down. They took him down in this one episode. No, it took 40 episodes to take him down. So it's not like they took him down in one episode. They didn't go in episode 1 and be like, hey, you know what? We beat Eovox. Story's over. And Alpha, look, Mikey says Alpha is an alien. No, look, Alpha's an alien in the movie. He's a robot. He's not an android. He is a robot in the television show. And to make even further proof of that, they literally have to repair Alpha, and he has to recharge. They make reference of that. Corey would know. It's his favorite season. Don't they have to recharge Alpha every now and then?
Yeah, you see him in his charging station charging up, and they have to turn him on. You can give him a virus. He'd be like, you know what I mean?
So it's I don't know. I just feel
like Brainiac in the comic book, the Justice League comic, the crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that it's kind of like the same thing. Anyway, they give Cruz more development than they give Ravi in this whole series. So I'm gonna give this episode a 5 though. That episode's a solid 5. But
5.
what are you guys? 5?
Yeah.
Corey, you?
I'm gonna my highest is going to be a 4.
All right,
5 is perfection.
I'll take
Okay.
4. I'll take your 4. Let's talk about this next episode. This next episode is quite important.
Source code.
Actually, before we even talk about the episode, I want to talk about Corey's experience with the episode because you got it spoiled for you on Twitter first, right?
Oh yeah, I was just on Twitter. I was just gonna check Twitter to see Transformer news or whatever, and then I started seeing Beast spoilers, and I was like, oh great, there's spoilers up. Let me log out. That was the Eovox reveal, and yeah, that was the thing I got spoiled for me. And if I would have been surprised by that, I would have yelled. I'm like, what the fuck? But it was spoiled for me, so I seen it coming, you know.
Yeah,
I would have been excited, but that was taken away from me. So.
This one was actually what do you call it? Chip Lynn came back for this one. So that's I think you were talking to Chip Lynn and you said that he really wanted to do Go Busters for the longest time, and I think this whole little arc that he built with it, I think this is his swan song, you know.
Look, I think yes, it's a big payoff for longtime Power Ranger fans, and if you got, I mean, look, obviously we're nitpicking because that's what we do, but for overall it's great, and I think that it's a great callback. I know a lot of people are looking at the franchise and wanting to get something like the MCU. Power Rangers just isn't built that way, but I think that with what they were given and the constraints that they were given, they did a great job with it. Now I know, look, I'm going to talk about Jay Smooth Soul Beats in here. He says that is so anti-Power Rangers to take the villain down easy. The greatest moral in Power Rangers is how to overcome adversity. Kids literally overcome death watching Power Rangers. I agree with half of that statement. I think that a part of what they do is overcome adversity. Another part of what Power Rangers is all about is inclusive. You say this word.
Inclusivity.
Inclusivity is another thing of what Power Rangers is known for. It's just the way it is. I think it's hard to say that they took Eovox down easy because I don't feel like that's the case. If they took him down easy, then that would have happened in the first episode.
I would say the fight wasn't super dynamic. I think that's probably what he's saying because they still took 2 episodes and they was just trying to beat this guy down. But if you go back to Zeo, they took out the whole Machine Empire. They just grew into giants and just slapped them around a little bit. So, I mean, that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, look, for overall, if we're just talking about endings on Power Rangers, I only really can remember having maybe like one good ending, and I think that was like Power Rangers in Space. Like, because all the other ones, I really don't remember the endings to them all that well. And out of the whole series, I feel like this one is a more memorable ending than a lot of other seasons. I think Lost Galaxy is a decent enough ending, but all the climactic stuff happens in Lost Galaxy when the Psycho Rangers come back.
Yeah.
After that, nothing tops that. Nothing tops when the Psycho Rangers come back. But I can't. Yeah, it's hard. Well, like Jay Smooth Soul Beats, you hated the ending to Zeo because Zeo didn't have an ending. It didn't have an ending. Turbo really didn't have an ending either. They just go off into space to go and transition into another season, which begs the question: is Power Rangers in Space? Power Rangers in Space is definitely a sequel series to Power Rangers Turbo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a sequel series to Power Rangers Zeo, which is a sequel series to Alien Rangers.
Yeah, we're going back to that type of construct where they're connected in some way. I mean, with the way, if you think about that, with the way that they did this and connected it to RPM, do you think that there's any possible way that Dino Fury will be connected to any of the Dino series?
I think it's possible, 100%. Look, I think too. Another thing, it's pretty much me and Jay Smooth Soul Beats. He says Time Force was so epic it could have been a movie, and I completely disagree with you.
I don't remember.
I think honestly, Time Force is such a hype season. Maybe I have to go back and watch it. It's such a hype season.
Time Force. I tried.
I know it's hard to get through. Time Force isn't as great as people think it is. And I honestly, I remember one thing from the finale, and that's Jen coming up to Wes and them having a thing and not like kissing. Like that's all I remember from the finale of that season.
Yeah, I don't remember anything. I don't remember. I think the one episode I remember is the one where the Blue Ranger gets pulled over for like speeding. I don't really remember the series that well.
I remember that lame Battlefire armor. I hate that stupid looking thing.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean the best parts of I think Time Force has good elements in there. I definitely think it has good elements in there, but it is very overrated. Yep. I think personally it's very overrated. I'm gonna go back and rewatch it just to make sure. But last I checked, it was very overrated. Let's talk about this. Talk about this particular finale though, because the penultimate episode I thought was very good. Bringing Dr. K back was a great touch, and bringing her back and interacting with even Benny and Betty was great for me. I think she. Look, I love seeing Dr. K back. I thought she was amazing. And they did her justice with the character as well.
Yeah, I think that just the interaction that she had with Nate, and just teaching him that we are all young and we all grow up and make mistakes. It was just a good callback to RPM, and this was really Nate's series. Like it's Beast Morphers was Nate's series, and I think the like going back to the one where his parents came back and there was a chance that he was going to leave. If you remember with Go Busters, the Gold Ranger actually died, or he kind of got he turned into digital matter or
data.
something. So I thought that maybe that's what they were gonna go with, as far as like, oh, they don't have enough footage for Nate, maybe his powers are gonna disappear. But yeah, the whole series just revolved around him, and I don't know if it was a crutch for the series or if that's the whole plan they had from the get-go, but I think that they executed it pretty well, especially tying in like another series into this one.
Let me ask you a question. Now, I know that the reveal, and this is what doesn't make sense to me, just in terms of marketing. So obviously the reveal is that, oh, hey, this is Eovox, and it ties into Power Rangers RPM. Now, do you think that reveal is better if nobody knows about it? Or as a longtime fan and you have a fledgling product, would you have promoted that being like, hey, like this is going to tie into one of the best seasons in Power Rangers RPM? What would your marketing plan have been for this?
Yeah.
I like the surprise of not knowing. The thing is, I would have sprinkled clues throughout the season.
Yeah.
Like maybe the name of certain weaponry would have been similar to RPM, and then have Nate refer to the Morphin Grid as the biofield a few times, and then you just drop the bomb at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
That I thought would have been cool. So I forget. I don't remember. There was something out there, and they I don't even remember. I don't know why I would bring it up, but they blew the lid off of it, and it was a movie. Bloody hell, Unbreakable. What was the movie with the Professor X? He was the
Split.
Yes, and all of a sudden, it was a sequel to Unbreakable. And
right.
Nobody knew. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. That everybody went and watched.
Well, the only downside about this though is that people aren't watching Power Rangers, so it's harder to get them to come back in without knowing anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, but then, I mean, if people, I mean, RPM is not. Nobody knows about RPM, so I mean, that's just something for us.
Well, look, what I'm saying is Power Ranger fans do. Even the promotion of having Jason come back, Power Ranger fans do. So I feel like you would give them more of a reason to get excited about it rather than, okay, cool, like it happened. Because, if there were some hardcore fans that maybe fell off after RPM, then at least you'd have a chance to get them back. Not saying you would, but at least you have a chance. By not promoting anything, it's like when a tree falls in the woods, does it make a noise? I don't fucking know because I don't live in the woods. But it's the same thing here. Like, I felt like they should have just done a better job of maybe not even saying that it was connected to RPM. They should have done a better job at saying, hey, this is a legacy season.
Yeah.
This season's going to contain a lot of things, if you're a hardcore Power Ranger fan, a lot of things that you're going to like. And I think I think it would have garnered a lot more attention from longtime fans. Essentially, what this season was a better version of what Super Megaforce should have been.
Mm-hmm. It was, especially the little reveal towards the end where they were using legendary weapons. I thought that was a nice touch to, it'd be cool if they were using legendary suits, but I still thought it was a nice touch. Hold on, I saw something that was. Thea Game says Nickelodeon won't promote the finale of Beast Morphers season 2 that much. Looking at how we were watching these episodes with the UK, the Pop UK, I felt like they did a way better job than Nickelodeon did at promoting their show. Like they even tomorrow or the next episode we're gonna see this and that. I saw commercials for Beast Morphers through that Pop UK.
Well, you know
network.
why? It's because Nickelodeon promotes Nickelodeon products. It's very, very hard for them to promote things that they're not necessarily producing.
I mean, the thing is, all these kids are on the internet, and Power Rangers Twitter and YouTube don't do anything. So they could have done all the promotion there.
I agree.
Instagram too.
I agree. There's a lot of things that they should be doing right, but this is a step in the right direction. Yeah, I like the episode a lot. I think the Eovox reveal is a good one. I love that we get another episode with more Power Ranger legacy props.
Yeah.
Corey, you had to have been a huge fan of that, seeing some of those old Morphers.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh, that's that stupid line gun, and then I was pretty hyped with the legacy weapons.
Wait, what was that little
kind of
dagger that they were holding? Where is that from?
The Cloud Hatchet. It's from RPM.
Oh, it's from RPM. It looked like a spaceship or something. Oh.
Yeah, it looks like a space shuttle. That was for the Gold and Silver Rangers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
it was fun.
Something I noticed that they didn't use the Lyle Itachi.
I don't know what you just said.
Yeah.
Whatever from Goldbuster. There's a weapon in Goldbuster that they used to control the King Beast X whatever Megazord thing, and they didn't use it. They replaced it with the Cheetah Beast Blaster.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
replaced it with that stupid bow and arrow thing that they use.
Look, I know. In retrospect, it's like, oh, we want all these other things. I think they did a decent job with what they did. I think that, I think it was a fine finale. Like, I think honestly, there's a couple changes when we get to the finale. There's a couple changes I would have made, but I think overall the last two episodes were fairly impressive. And honestly, let's be honest. Even though it's not titled the same way, it is a 2-part finale.
It is. It's actually kind of almost a 3-part, like because the crunch time, the one with Devon, it kind of plays into it a little bit. Yeah, the whole source code episode, I thought it was great, and I thought that like the little callbacks and the having young Nate messing with the shape shift, what do you call it? Cell shift Morpher was great.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was so, and you could felt like even when they were in the hangar, not the hangar, but the little parking complex where you could tell, like, just with Abraham's acting, like, oh man, he's actually a decent actor, and I'm not surprised that he's getting more roles after this because he really gave his all in some of these like small lines, like, I can't believe I created this. I've created Eovox or whatever, and I thought that out of the whole cast, he's probably gonna be the one that's gonna get a lot of roles after this.
Yeah, he's already landed a role on Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
So, and that's another thing too. So, I think that they knew they had something special in him because I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but I think some of you guys that have seen our previous work do that. Abraham actually auditioned for the comedy role.
Yeah.
And they liked him so much that he actually went to the training, to the point that when he went to the training for Mike Chat's training, like they were showing him how to do stuff, and he was just kind of like, listen, I don't know why you're having me do this stuff because I auditioned for the comedy role, unbeknownst to him that they were going to give him the role of the Gold Ranger.
Yeah.
So I think that like what a great, and another cool thing too that I do like about this is that I know that there were people in the Power Ranger community that I shall not name that hated on Abraham because he didn't have the look of a Power Ranger. and then he ends up with a better season than most of those people.
Yeah.
So kind of goes to show you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What all the emphasis on that. But
can't wait for January.
Can't wait for January. Let's talk. Wait, I'm gonna give that episode 2 a 5. By the way,
a 5.
I love that Dr. K episode. Honestly, she has not missed a beat, and I think that what they did a good job of doing as well is writing for her as a more mature person in the universe.
She was so much fun. I felt like she should have been a staple within the series. It would have been so much fun. Going back, looking at the series, there is this one actress that kept showing up. She had a lot of airtime. I felt like they should have gave her a name. It was the Grid Battle Force girl. She had the bangs. Yeah, I felt like she should have had like a character or something because she was in it all the time.
In Go Busters, I forget her name. She's the girl with the glasses, and she basically had the same role in Go Busters.
Yeah,
gave her. Name.
I felt like if that's the case, they could have given that role to like Roxy or Blaze or I don't know. They could have just incorporated them back into Grid Battle Force, but.
I mean, as I was watching the shows, I remember I texted you. Desert and Dickhead didn't even text me back on anything. I was like, "Hey, where's Blaze?" Like, I was like, "What is going on?" Because it just felt like it's so awkward that like he knows that they're still fighting Eovox. He's like, "Yeah, I got a karate tournament, guys. Peace."
Yeah, he didn't care. And then freaking Roxy, she was just there to
be the girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, I want to get into this. I want to get into this finale, though. Yeah. I want to really talk about the finale, and then what we're gonna do here, just to fill you guys in. Actually, what we're gonna do first is take some of you guys' talk to you, some of the guys in the chat. Jezreel, pick those out. Then we'll talk about the finale, and then we'll talk about things that we would have wanted to have changed or what would have played better, and then we're gonna get your guys' opinion on that as well. But Jezreel, kick us off with the chat real quick.
J Smooth says there are 6 million subscribers to the official channel. I think he's talking about the Power Rangers channel. The show is getting 300K average views and has voiced 2-season contract. I think he's saying his how he's unhappy with how people are using Power Rangers is using its platform. And I agree. I mean, with a channel that has 6 million subscribers, you should be putting out some real fun original content. And the fact that you're not even trying, you're not even like using the numbers that you have to promote your show or amplify or enhance the viewing of your seasons, it's a missed opportunity.
It is. It really is. I think that's one thing that definitely needs to improve is kind of what they're doing with social media outreach. I think they're doing a lot of cool things for the fans in terms of the Lightning Collection, which we'll talk about in a second.
But that's a different department, though. That's like 2 different departments.
What are they doing with this YouTube money then, if they are generating anything from it? Nothing. I mean, that's stuff they can put back into the channel.
Nothing.
Yeah, but that probably goes into a social media budget.
Yeah.
So you got to look at it's probably into a marketing budget. You got to look at the way that the show's lined up. It's not like a student film or like a hey, let's get our group of friends together and start a YouTube channel and see what happens. No, this is under a corporate structure. So you have to think that like their social media, their advertising budget is for that. And that's probably going back into their social media budget. Chances are it could be going straight into their profits too, because if you're trying to make up numbers and if you're not getting ratings and your toys aren't selling as well as they should be, then you're probably transferring that money to justify it somewhere else and spread it around. At least in terms of business, that would be the best scenario, so you don't come out in the red and you actually can try to break even a little bit. But Hasbro's a bigger conglomerate than what Saban was at the time. And they have a lot more balls in the air, especially with their Allspark production. So
I feel like Nickelodeon is doing all this on purpose. With other shows, certain days of the week are time slot hells, right? Like you and me, Joe, we've watched Smallville throughout, when it was live on WB and CW or whatever. You saw that it moved multiple places depending on ratings. And I think
Right, it ended up on a Friday, right? It was
yeah,
like
on a
Friday.
Friday, and Friday usually Fridays are primetime hell, like because nobody's really I don't for some reason people aren't really watching on Fridays because it's like the end of the week, everybody's focused on other things. I think that that might have been the situation with Power Rangers where they didn't have too much faith in it, that they're just slowly trying to kill it off. And I mean, I've seen so many freaking Nickelodeon commercials for Danger Force or whatever the hell that fucking shit is. It's like some garbage TV show, and they promote the shit out of it, and like.
Well, it's because it's a Nickelodeon production.
Yeah, but you have like I don't know. You have so many different properties Nickelodeon had, and you're just it's money left on the table.
What's the point of putting? I mean, obviously Nickelodeon is getting money from Hasbro to put Power Rangers on the show, but why put something on the air that is not giving you as much money as your own content? You get what I mean?
Like, I think it's just because it's the contract that they signed, and I think that at the time Saban needed an outlet for Power Rangers to show, because you got to think when that contract was signed, it was the way that television was consumed was different. So you can outsource things like that. You can have things like that. Now things are different. We live in a different world, and it changes everything. So now, since most people are streaming things, you can't necessarily plan for that. Just something you got to deal with, wait for the contract to run out. I'm sure they could have gotten out of the contract, but it's just it's a difficult situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk about this finale though, because this is what it's been building to. This is the end all be all of what Beast Morphers ends up being. Were you guys satisfied with it?
I was satisfied until like the last 2-3 minutes.
Yeah. That whole like 1 year later, that whole 1 year later thing, I could have done without. Like, I felt like they should have just built it up more. If I didn't get, like, I went on Twitter like Corey did. If I didn't get spoiled by the reveals of like human Steel and stuff, the whole scene where Steel dies and all that would have hit harder if I didn't know what was gonna happen after.
I didn't know that was going to happen. So here's the thing. I think overall the ending was good. There are a couple things I would have fixed or I would have changed. Number one, it's almost more impactful to just let Steel die in that moment.
Yeah.
Because you could see that like it makes such a difference. And that was the catalyst to get everybody to come together with Grid Battle Force.
Yep.
Bringing him back kind of negates that.
Yep.
But there's a couple things I had a problem with. Number one, in the 1 year later.
Yep.
I didn't have a problem with the 1 year later. I had a problem with certain people's roles in the 1 year later. Devon should not have been the commander in that 1 year.
No.
The commander should have been Blaze. Blaze would have made a better commander, or if Devon was the commander, Blaze should have been the new Red Ranger. I think that's a better choice, and then it gives you a little bit more to chew on. Secondly, if they did bring General Truman back, which I thought was kind of cool, but if you are going to make Steel a human, you should have brought back Andrew Hartford, because he has experience in making an android into a human with Mac. It would have made a lot of sense to bring back Andrew Hartford from Operation Overdrive, for him to be the one to make him into a real person.
Ooh, yeah. That would have been.
I don't remember how he did it. Did he use like magic or some shit? I don't remember how he.
No, but he could have done it again. And the whole point is it would have tied that up better, and it would have made you care just a little bit more about Operation Overdrive. I think, and it's not like it's hard to get that dude back, because if they got fucking General Truman in for the 45 seconds he was in the show, I'm pretty sure they could have gotten Andrew Hartfield back.
Yeah.
Those are two little things. I think overall, though, that I really like the way that they kind of set up they end the season. I just think that there's small tweaks that they could have done that would have made it just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Where are Quazzo's character from? I don't think he's not from Go Buster, is it?
Who?
Squazzo,
I
the
don't know. Let me
monster
see.
suit.
I don't know. I don't know actually. That's a good question, Corey.
Let me
I
see.
don't think he's from Go. He doesn't look like a Go Buster monster.
Yeah, but I definitely think that it would have helped a little bit more had we had a couple of those cameos, because then it would have really felt like, okay, there's a purpose of turning him into a human, and also there's a purpose of why Blaze was even on this team in this journey to begin with. Having Blaze be the new Red Ranger would have worked a lot better for me.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see. Let's talk about, look, overall, Beast Morphers gets a big thumbs up for me. And here's the reasons why. They didn't use a ton of Japanese footage. The season felt completely original compared to its counterpart. And it actually felt like a legacy season ever since day one. When they mentioned some of the villains that have come in the past, this felt like a culmination of what a great season was. And overall, I actually do think this was a pretty good season. In terms of it's one of the better. It's for sure one of the best seasons in the Neo Saban era. Even though it's not considered that, but it's
still,
better than
I still feel like it's still technically Neo Saban. I felt like we haven't seen a full Hasbro season yet.
No, we haven't. I mean, we got to consider this how Wild Force was during the end of the Spawn era.
Yeah. So I think that the tone of the next season is what we can expect for what Hasbro is going to be doing. And you have to admit, they made some bold choices with the tonal change that they did, and they made some bold choices in having it connect to another season. It shows that they're not afraid to try to work on continuity with the series.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about some of the other things that we can get out of this Beast Morpher season. So, Corey, you're the big Tory enthusiast. We obviously got to see a lot of Morphers in that one scene. Do you think we'll be seeing more Hasbro-produced Morphers from other seasons, maybe like RPM's Morpher?
Honestly, from Hasbro, no. I don't think so. They riding that dinosaur dick real hard, that Mighty Morphin. So they're not gonna. I don't think we're gonna see anything. But once Dino Fury is over, I don't think. Not for a little bit, no.
So I was telling you guys off air, I may as well tell everybody in the chat. So my local comic store, where we shoot at the Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach, you come down if you live in Southern California, they are open and they are safe, but just wear a mask. But they had 2 cases, unopened cases, of the Lightning Collection figures, Wave 5. They gave me all of the Blue Rangers and the Ranger Slayers. So I have 4 Blue Rangers and 2 Ranger Slayers. So maybe we'll do some giveaways for people that aren't subscribed or people that are. Maybe we should do some giveaways here. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Dig it.
Sweet. We'll figure that out along the way. But let's talk about this Beast Morphers as a whole. You guys satisfied?
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. People think I hate the show. I don't hate the show. I just, after so long, they still making the same dumbass mistakes after 25 years, and it just drives me nuts.
Why don't you go right for them, Corey?
If I had to choose my top 10 favorite series, Beast Morphers would be, at the bottom of that list.
What's your number 1 series, Corey?
Don't ask me that, you bastard. You know.
I like Beast Morphers. I would say Beast Morphers is definitely, probably I would say in my top 5. And that's a tight list. I think that top 5 is, I don't know, maybe top 10 for sure.
Top 10 for sure.
It's a tight list. It's a tight list.
I feel like I have to break it down.
Yeah, this is a great legacy season. I think that that overall it's a pretty good legacy season. Look, I know a lot of people like Time Force, but I don't even remember the ending of Time Force is how forgettable it was.
Didn't Wes's doppelganger come back or something?
Alex, freaking weird ass Alex, his character was pointless.
That's another thing too, because is Alex now So are him and Jen still a thing? And is that? I mean,
Yeah, she just left her dude for his freaking ancestor. It's weird.
So bizarre. That is such a bizarre storyline.
Apparently, in the comic books, is time travel. When they traveled back in time, that changed the future a little bit. This was in Shattered Grid, and that changed the way Alex was as a person, which is why he came back as a dickhead when he came back and started commanding everyone around. But then that doesn't really matter because she was already falling for Wes to begin with before he came back, you know?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds not convoluted at all. Anyway, back to Beast Morphers. I think though that there's a couple missteps here and there, but overall it delivers. Funny enough, I think that the big team up in Beast Morphers is one of the bigger letdowns. But it's all the other episodes surrounding it that really bring it up.
Yep.
Like the Dino Charge episode's fantastic. The Dr. K stuff is fantastic. It's just I felt like for some odd reason they dropped the ball a little bit on that big giant team up. Granted, I'm happy it happened, and I thought it was a cool episode, but I don't think it wasn't as good as the last team up we had saw.
I'm gonna say this, Corey, and I know it's gonna piss you off, but I feel like Austin St. John didn't really deliver with that team up. Like his acting was just just terrible.
I wasn't excited either. I said my boy's back, and he didn't get me excited. I was like, all right, but he's here.
Yeah, I think he may have been one of the weak points of that crossover. That's for me. And
yeah, I was hyped he didn't deliver. I'm not gonna. Just because he's my favorite. If you fucking up, I'm gonna let you know you fucking up. Just because it's my favorite, I'm not gonna be like, oh, he's my favorite. It don't matter. He can't do no wrong. I'm not that fan.
He says it as he has that background behind him.
Do you? Yeah. Do you think though that that Beast Morphers from when it started that it would have so many tie-ins that it did?
No. It could have had more actually. Like the way the way it was set up and the way that it looked, it could have had so much more tie-ins to previous seasons. So I'm happy. I'm happy it had just that. I mean, even Dr. K's departing thing that she had with Devon. She's like, "Oh, you guys have a nice world here.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah, take care of it, or
Don't
mess
like
it up."
I did.
Yeah. So it's like it felt like this was an alternate reality to RPM a little bit. Like if Venjix was under control, you know.
Well, it is an alternate reality.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up, man. What the hell?
It is an alternate reality. You're
So
like,
wait, I want to talk about Dino Fury because that's our next thing coming up, and you know that we're going to probably start ramping up on Dino Fury news.
Real quick, I found out Squazzle is an original character.
Oh, nice.
I did some digging. Okay.
Hey, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume Squazzle has to come back. There's no reason why they'd just.
There is the scene where Eovox is like, "Oh, take this. This is my most important thing." Like,
oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
yeah, like there's something else other than what he did. Like he has some information. Maybe there's a piece of Eovox still alive in there. You know, like it's kind of like a Horcrux from Harry Potter or something. Like this character goes on.
Crossover for Dino Fury.
Maybe.
Dino Fury, Beast Morphers.
100%. There's gonna be a crossover. Like, you can already feel that Squazzle is going to be the key factor in that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people discounted Squazzle and his character because he's just like, glorified Finster type character. But, he kind of reminds me a little bit of like I'm gonna, play to Corey's fandoms, a little bit of a Starscream type character.
Yeah.
You know, like how Starscream was always, obedient to Megatron. I can imagine Squazzle like coming up and
scheming in the background.
Yeah, scheming in the background. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that was a smart move. It's planting the seeds, and Simon Bennett is obviously a director on Beast Morphers, so hopefully he has plans for Squazzle to show back up. I can easily see that happening. But let's talk about Dino Charge because I do want to talk about Dino Fury. Sorry, Dino Fury. I want to talk about what we can expect. Right now, the casting process is still going on. Round 1 stuff is still taking place. Though I know that callbacks have also started happening too, because somebody that Jezra and I are close to got one and did very well. So I know that round 2 is starting up very soon. I would look. Here's the thing. In the chat, I would just seriously like to know how many of you plan on auditioning if you haven't already. I just want you to just say in the chat if you already have auditioned, because now I want to get a gauge on what they're doing with Dino Fury. And it's fascinating because the people holding the auditions, Iris is still a part of it. Chip Lynn is still a part of the casting process. So I'm very, very curious about it. With everything that you knew from Ryu Soldier, Corey, does this season kind of excite you, especially with the way that Beast Morphers ended?
Say that again.
Does the Dino Fury season excite you, especially with the way Beast Morphers ended?
It's hard to say, because the thing is with Power Rangers is, like, I get hyped when the new season is announced. Then it airs. I'm like, okay, that was cool. And then they fuck around for 30 episodes. And then everything that they should have been doing for 30 episodes, they do in the last 4.
Right.
So I'm just, at my old age and watching this shit all my life, I'm just like, I get what I get.
The armor suits look pretty dope. Like the Red Ranger's like power-up suit.
Oh, yeah.
They look fucking amazing. Like, what the fuck is that shit? That is like Kamen Rider shit, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of you guys, I know some of you have said you guys can't send in self-tapes. You have no place to record. I know some of you have auditioned. And I know that some of you said that you're too old. Actually, for the auditions, they're actually looking for people that are 35 for at least one or two of the roles. So that's interesting. I know they're skewing up ages a little bit, but I think that might be for the comedy duo, which is an alien and another character. But who knows? I would say this though, without going into a lot of detail. I will say this: if you want to audition for Power Rangers and you think that I'll just hold off on a season, I wouldn't. I would do this season, because you never know when you might not get that chance again. Yep. But I would definitely probably audition for this season if I was good, if I was planning on auditioning.
Why put off what you could do tomorrow, what you can do today?
Yeah, exactly. So I know that a lot of people send in self-tapes, but I know that they're doing the callbacks now. So I know that they started callbacks. I want to say it was like last weekend. It was like last weekend they started callbacks. So I know that's...
yeah, I had mine last weekend.
You had yours last weekend? Mm-hmm. For that comedy production?
Yep.
So no, I know that's happening. I do have the sides. It looks like the sides for the second audition are the same that they were in Beast Morphers. If you want to know those sides, let us know, and then we'll write an article about it. If not, I'm not going to put them out there because it's going to be a waste. But yeah, that's that. Trying to think of what else for Dino Fury that could be interesting. It's still very early on in the process. So the way that they're going to work this season is they have a base on the characters, on the comedy characters they want to do. But in terms of the actual Rangers that they want to use, it's really going to be dependent on who they cast as the Red Ranger, because usually the rest is going to follow. I don't even know if they have the personalities fleshed out yet. So we don't know what the story is, but as soon as I find out more about that, I'll be sure to let you guys know. Let's see. Jezra, what do we got in the chat?
Let's see. They say flash with a closed link they can only see and the views keep increasing but no callback. I think he's talking about a YouTube video that the audition process the audition team uses. Flash says I sent a self-tape back in March. Jared Hodges says Ryu Soldier has awesome suits and the Zords, Megazords can power up. The power-ups are amazing. Daniel says I want Daryl to be a Ranger. Can we make that happen? Blackwing says Corona ruined my whole chance. Don't like Corona. The coronavirus thing, it didn't ruin anybody's chances. It just postponed it a little bit. So don't be discouraged. I mean, everything's moving slower, but it's still happening, right? So I mean, just keep going.
Yeah, and New Zealand has done a really good job of containing it. Now, I wouldn't be surprised though if somebody from an older season did return for Dino Fury for the whole season. Would not be surprised if that happened. So just keep an ear out, if you will.
Do you remember what Brendan said on Saturday? He said, "Oh, why don't you just make it a sequel series to mine since it's the same colors?" That would be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be
it
cool.
would be.
And Brendan said that he's gonna try to be in the audition process, so that'd be fun. But
yeah, I know. So they're starting back up, so that's good. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for what Dino Fury holds. I think that there's a lot of cool things that could come out of that. I really do hope that they learn from their mistakes with Dino Charge, because there's a lot of missteps they took there.
Flash says, when can we expect that article, Joe?
Beginning of next week, maybe.
I think he's talking about the Sides article.
Oh, the Sides article? I wasn't planning. Nobody said that they wanted it, so I'm not going to do it. I'll probably just do the other article.
Abram, the realtor, says, if someone from an old season comes back, best case scenario, Dino Thunder, worst case scenario, Samurai.
If somebody comes back from an old season, I think it's going to be David Yost.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%.
Man, that'd be crazy.
I think the Austin experiment worked. I think that was a 2-year buildup, essentially. They did what they needed to do. They got Austin back. So Power Rangers is going into its 28th season?
28th,
yeah. Yeah.
And that's next year, right? 2021 is 28?
Yep.
And then 2022 is 29? And then 2023 is 30.
They count it that way. I don't know if Beast Morphers season 1 and 2 is counted as, 27, 28. You know what I mean?
I'm not talking about season number. I'm just talking about how many years Power Rangers been.
Oh.
Because it'll be in 2023. It'll be 30 years, right?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Okay.
Last Morphicon was 25.
The last Morphicon was 25. Okay, it's
really?
fascinating.
It's
really fascinating, just because I kind of know what the future of Power Rangers is going to be. So I'm just trying to do the math to see if everything lines up.
We're gonna get to like 35.
I'll have a story on that. I have a story on it. Don't worry.
Oh, Flash says.
Don't your head, buddy.
Flash says, no, Jezzer, I meant his Power Rangers article, the one he's been teasing us for weeks.
You know what? Just for that, next month. Look for it. Probably beginning of August.
Oh man, you just ruined it for everybody.
Yeah, I'm kidding. It'll be probably sometime next week, depending on what the other news stories we have. But I've been holding off because it's a very touchy. It's a hard story to release, man. It's tough because you got to think that there's a lot of Hasbro's new. It's corporate and they want to do things their way. So they're not being so easy with information. So it's hard to get that information out. But once you kind of do, it's a little easier. And I think that's. I don't want to give you guys false information, is all.
Yeah, the Blur says, I think Zoojer should be an anniversary season. No, I think Zoojer should just die. That is a garbage season.
Hey.
That is a garbage season. The Zords look like poop.
Zords look funny, but Zoojer.
I don't want to let kids keep thinking that frickin' Minecraft should still be a thing. Minecraft is a thing that should just die too, because why are we doing this still? No. Zoojer should not.
Hey, honestly, that I will agree. Jay Smooth says, I don't want anyone back if they're just going to abuse them and ignore them like the Commander Shaw. Or sadly, Jason. What the F was Jason doing all these years? Who knows? I mean, that is kind of like one of those things that isn't necessarily explained. And I even think that's when I say Dimensions in Danger, they at least tell you what Tommy's kind of been up to. You know what I mean? Like, he has a family, he's doing his thing. Jason could have just been sitting on his couch and walked in a portal and was like, whoa, what's going on? You know what I mean? It just seems so like, no, not even a question, but hey, man, so it's been a while. What have you been up to? And Jason's like, at least give us an answer.
No.
He
Yeah.
is not the head of Grid Battle Force.
Yep. Blackwing says, Zords aside, Zoger is dope. Don't slander it. Zords is what sells the series. So if the Zords look like crap, they're not going to adapt that series. Plain and simple. It's toys sell the series.
Zords don't sell over here in America. It's the figures.
Huh?
Yeah, he's right. Like in America, Zords don't sell as well as the figures.
In Japan, the Zords are the feature.
Well,
you notice the Super Sentai hardly have any action figures.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, they don't, huh? They only had like the third party people that make it.
They have the one set. Over here, we get 45 different Armored Rangers.
Yeah, seriously, man. And then they'll just to put them in a new box, they'll release them all together. It's ridiculous.
Jesus.
I'm getting all 5 Psycho Rangers. Jesus Christ! I bought the other 2.
I know.
What a
sucks.
fucking face.
So if that's an option, are they gonna be releasing teams in general? Like they're just gonna be doing teams now?
What do you mean?
They should.
Imagine.
For collectors. I'll make it easier for me.
I'm with that. If they just released everything as teams, I would like that much better.
Oh my
just so much easier for me.
That would be crazy. Is there any Corey? Is there any information on when that 5 Psycho team releases?
No, not really. I don't know anything.
They're saying that that was going to be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. That's what they're.
It's also fascinating too because if I'm not mistaken, and Toku Chris is a better person that would know this better than I do, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Wave 6 is the last wave that Jason Bischoff was involved with. So and he had it meticulously planned out, each and every character he wanted in each wave. So I'm very curious what they're gonna do going forward after him. Because everything that we're seeing now is all Jason Bischoff stuff. So I'm very curious what's next in line for them.
So soon they should be wrapping up Beast Morpher figures, right?
I don't know. I mean, you would assume so. Okay, so we got a few questions about writing. Theoron says, I want to find out how to write on the show. Well, you gotta talk to somebody in production or Hasbro or Allspark Production. The Blur says, I even wrote about the box art. You did. Jay Smooth says, if Eddie can come out of nowhere and make Power Ranger RPM, I'll give him a chance, and he is legit good director. Eddie actually didn't come out of nowhere. He was actually working on a ton of Disney shows at the time, and Power Rangers just happened to be the next one that he was going to be a part of. And his pitch with that was Disney was very hands-off with it. They didn't know what to do with it, so they just let him pretty much do whatever he kind of wanted to do. Then he went over budget, and he ended up getting replaced by Chip Lynn. So that's how that went down. But, I mean, essentially in terms of Power Rangers is where he got his name. But where he really made his name is a series called Jake Long. I think it's called Jake Long. It's like a Disney show or something.
Yeah, Jake Long.
Yeah. So that's kind of what he's up to now. Now let's see what else. Flash says, Joe, do you see a good future for Dino Fury? Ignore the research you've done just based on what we fans are getting. What do you see? Do I see a good season of Dino Fury? I'll be 100% honest with you. If you would have asked me this question 3 months ago, oh, no, I'm sorry, not 3 months ago. If you would asked me this question about 2 months ago, I would say no. I would say a hard no. It's not going to be a good series just based on everything I know about it. Right now, it's a little bit harder because I know Chip Lynn's not the showrunner, but it seems like he has a pretty large involvement with the show, which makes me feel that he is really the one still pulling the strings with the franchise. And I know that Simon Bennett is the executive producer, but it seems like, because look, Simon Bennett's not sitting there doing auditions with Iris and her husband. It's Chip Lynn. So that should tell you something right there.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I think just the way that they wrapped up this series, I think that there can be hope for Dino Fury, for sure.
Yeah, it seemed like their Beast Morphers seemed a little more thought out, even though there's a lot of fumbling around.
Yeah, that could have been just like little changes here and there with staff and stuff, but who knows?
Let's play a fun game called Let's Learn from Our Mistakes. What happened in Beast Morphers that we do not want to see in Dino Fury that we did not like, and what what should we carry over?
Story arc.
One thing we should definitely carry over for sure is Power Rangers is a legacy show. It's had 20 plus years before it. Respect the legacy and apply it. Like use it. Use some of that legacy for you. Some of the missteps. I'm happy that Ben and Betty weren't nearly as slapsticky as Victor and Monty, but the comedy beats. Some of the comedy can just come from the Rangers, because if you look at like RPM, Ziggy is the comic relief, but Ziggy is also a Ranger, but Ziggy's also written very well. So I feel that like if we are going to have comedy, let it be with the Rangers inherently to develop some of the characters.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Jim and Gemma were the clowns.
Yeah, they. I think they need to just utilize the cast that they have. So don't bring in so many people and then not be able to work with them.
Yeah, and don't feel like you have to stop the show to put them in there. So there are plenty of episodes in Mighty Morpher where Bulk and Skull did very little. Don't stop the show just because we didn't have a clown whatever. Words are falling out of my brain right now.
Yeah, I mean,
if you stop the show just to have a joke when it's not relevant to what's going on.
Yeah, if you even had like Beast Morphers where there was a space for another Ranger. I mean, Steel didn't necessarily have to follow the Sentai counterpart. It could have been another Ranger, And I mean, when you have Roxy and Blaze there, you could have easily like maybe make Blaze the character, or make either one of the comic duos become the characters. I mean, you don't have to follow the Super Sentai directly. And then I felt like with Beast Morphers, they cast way too many people for what they needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thinking about it, they didn't even use Japanese footage of Steel.
So it didn't really matter.
Human.
Yeah, so could have just had a Silver
Jay
Ranger.
Smooth Soul Beat says MMPR didn't have a moral in every episode. It had a moral in almost every episode. There's very few episodes where it wasn't like a monster of the day type of deal. Like MMPR was notorious for being a monster of the day. Matter of fact, MMPR in one season has more monsters of the day than any other season in Power Ranger history. Now that I really think about it.
Yeah, 3 seasons.
I'm just talking about the first season. It's 60 episodes. That's 20 more episodes than any other season that's come after it almost.
Hey, explain something to me, because I just looked over the Power Rangers on Netflix. How do they break down the third season of Mighty Morphin? Isn't that Alien Rangers, or it's
no? So the third season of Mighty Morphin is Mighty Morphin, and then there's a 10-episode miniseries which is considered Alien Rangers.
Is that after the third season?
It's after third season of Mighty Morphin. It's right between Mighty Morphin and Z.
And then it goes right back into. It's weird because it goes back into Mighty Morphin.
No, it goes back. It goes from Mighty Morphin straight to Zeo. I'm sorry. Yeah. It goes from Alien Rangers straight to Zeo.
It goes back to Mighty Morphin.
No, it doesn't. I'll promise.
Corey, they did the Retro Ranger wrap up, man. They already know. They just literally probably finished it.
What happens is that they get the Zeo crystal. They all turn big again, which is still Alien Rangers.
You're right.
The Alien Rangers.
You're right.
And then the next episode is Zeo. It's Zeo beginning 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I think they change the intro in the last few episodes of Alien Rangers. So that's what I'm thinking.
All right, hold on. I want to say J Smooth Soulbeat says no morals in Green with Evil, no morals in Doomsday, or Green No More, or literally you. So out of the 3 seasons, you named 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You named 11 episodes out of 3 seasons. The first season's 60 episodes. Let's see. The second season is. Hold on. You can keep talking real quick. I'm gonna research this.
Okay. He's doing research. He wants to fact check it.
Prove myself wrong. And hold up.
I don't know. Hey Corey, I know that you haven't been very high.
Right, you're right. I was wrong. I'm looking at it.
Oh, I was like, what is he looking at? I thought you're actually looking at the screen.
My Netflix. See.
Oh.
Second season is 52 episodes.
Okay.
So so far we're at what 112 episodes, and the third season is 33 episodes.
Okay.
So out of almost 150 episodes, you named 11. I mean, I'll even give you credit, and I'll even go ahead and say 20 episodes, even if there were 20 episodes.
And even with those
still,
episodes, I still have to go watch them. I think a few of them still had like those little moral storylines. I
feel look, and look, no offense, Corey, because this isn't about you this time, but I think that with MMPR, like a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of you guys, a lot of people in general look at it with nostalgia glasses, and that means that like even though you might not see it, and some of these episodes that he even named definitely do have morals, like a morality play with it, because especially in Green with Evil, the morality play there is like accepting somebody for something they did wrong and still making them a part of your team. I feel like when you look into it, it's still all there. But yeah, Mighty Morphin is notorious for having like one and done episodes, because at that time it was called a strip show. Strip shows were literally shows that you could put on 5 days a week. 5 days a week. They are not doing continuous storylines. They are just doing because they want it so kids can watch them out of order. It doesn't matter which episode you pick up on.
I think at one point they just started airing them out of order. I think when I was a kid, like it wasn't in the order that it was supposed to be.
Yeah, when they would do reruns, they're just throwing them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I respect Mighty Morphin. I think that obviously it starts it all, but to say that it's one of the best seasons, even any one of those 3 seasons, I think it's very hard to consider any one of those 3 seasons the best.
Oh, God.
I'm just saying Mighty Morphin had 2 movies. That's all I'm saying.
Mighty Morphin had 1 movie.
Mighty Morphin had 2 movies. Had 97, and then there was a reboot in 2017.
I wouldn't even consider 2017 Mighty Morphin. It's not in the title.
It had Zordon, had Alpha, it had Jason, Zach, and Trini, and Billy.
But you know what?
All the colors were there. Dinosaurs.
No, Corey, you know what that is? That's just brand recognition. You know, that's all that is.
It's called a reboot.
No, imagine them trying to make a movie about I don't know, Operation Overdrive or Mystic Force. It would not do well because brand recognition. It wouldn't ring true to like the new fans or the not so hardcore fans like ourselves.
Look, it's based on Mighty Morphin. That's what I'm saying. You can't say it's not. You can't say it's not.
I mean, I look, and it's even true that Mighty Morphin era made the most money also, but still it still wasn't the best content. And I think that
it is. I'm just saying.
You're saying it is.
Strongest. All right. It's the strongest.
It's the strongest.
The strongest.
I think that there's a lot of people. I mean, Daniel, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's completely fine. It says unpopular opinion. I think Mighty Morphin 1 through 3 is better than anything we've gotten now. No nostalgia here either. And I completely disagree. I think that if you go back and really watch Mighty Morphin all the way through, it's not the easiest thing to get.
Court, you tell Daniel Romano that's not necessarily true. You have to. He said that 1 through 3 is better than anything that we've gotten. He's pretty much saying 1 through 3 is the best seasons ever. So you seeing this, you know.
Oh, look, I love rewatching Mighty Morphin.
Okay.
So some people may not. It's hard for them to watch, but I can watch that shit all the time.
Yeah, but would you say it's the best?
I also tear it apart because I know when I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know, I know when something stupid is going on. And,
yeah. Would you say it's the best series that we've gone throughout Power Rangers and its whole universe? That's pretty much what Daniel's saying is like it's the best. We haven't got anything better than that.
I would say it's the tightest, but it's not the best.
Tightest.
Well, look, here's what I'm very curious. Like, I don't know what the criteria for considering MMPR season 1 through 3 is better than anything more recently. Because if you think about MMPR, if we're just talking plot, and Corey, you know this, and we've already talked about this. There's tons of plot holes in MMPR. Then if you're talking about like just impactful stories, I mean, yes, there's definitely iconic ones because it's the first time you saw them. Mm-hmm. Like Green with Evil's iconic because it's the first time. Right. It's Green with Evil's iconic because it's the first time you saw an extra Ranger, right? White's iconic because it's Tommy's return. But like if you're looking at it as a whole, just in terms of storytelling, like even when they introduce characters in other seasons, it's still better than what Mighty Morphin did. Like, look, correct me if I'm wrong. If we're just saying Mighty Morphin's very good because it's better than anything we've gotten, and I'm sure all of you guys can explain why you're not fans of the more current stuff we've gotten, from whether it be story beats, whether it be anything. But explain me one thing. So are we led to believe that Rocky, Adam, and Aisha all transferred from the same school together to go to Angel Grove and start like midway through the year? Fucking what?
And then there were ninjas on top of that.
Right? And then there are ninjas on top of that. It's kind of like you're just screw shit, and then you kind of like went with it, right? It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Corey, come on, you have to agree. When they brought in Rocky as a Red Ranger, you felt you were kind of pissed off that they took that.
I stopped watching the show. I was on VR Troopers.
Yeah, like they took that character that it's brand recognition, it's the Red Ranger, and they just like pretty much like they neutered the Red Ranger. It's pretty much what they did when they brought in Rocky.
I didn't start to like Rocky until season 3, and then
I didn't start to like Rocky till Zeo. I hated Rocky's character. It was just
I agree.
Rocky was like replacement Jason in season 2, and it was weird.
I agree. Rocky didn't have a character until he got to Zeo.
Yeah, he was just like a placeholder, and like a placeholder for like the Yellow Ranger and Black Ranger is fine, but for the Red Ranger, no, that is garbage.
Yeah, and he didn't even feel like he was just a ranger that was red. He wasn't the Red Ranger.
He wasn't a red. Like that was garbage. I hated that when they did that. I don't know. That's just me.
The Blur makes a great comment
when he was leading the team. I'm like, shut up, Rocky.
I don't know. It just certain things just don't make any sense. Like why would the second in command be Rocky and not Billy at that point too?
Mm-hmm.
Like why is that not lost on everybody? And then I know you're a big fan of Jason, Corey, and that's completely fine. And it's not Austin's fault and it's not your fault. But sometimes like Jason would just rush into battle without thinking. And then he's praised as being one of the greatest leaders ever, even though there's multiple times they almost lose. They're like, Zordon's even like, Jason, you can't go out there and fight again because we're getting beat. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's no restraint there. So
yeah, that was just his flaw, I mean, if you read the comic books, they brought the difference between Jason and Tommy. Even though Tommy respected Jason as a leader, Jason knows like Tommy is the better leader. That kind of.
I completely I agree, but like I said, MMPR there's definitely iconic moments because they happen for the first time, but outside of that, like,
if you say, hey, what is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers about? There is no answer because it's not about anything.
And honestly, this gets overlooked a lot, but we want to talk about like one of the worst season finales. I mean, Oyster Stew is how Mighty Morphin season 1 ends.
Yep.
Let's be real. The highlight of that is Zach getting the dragon shield. But other than that, that is your season 1 finale.
Yep.
Right? So if we're talking comparatively, Beast Morphers or Oyster Stew, I mean...
I don't really like that episode, Oyster Stew.
Well, hey, that's your season 1 finale of your favorite season, Oyster Stew.
It always bothered me in that episode. Like Zach, he goes like this in this episode, and he uses like his visor, and he never showed the inside of his visor. But I found the unused footage, the unused Japanese footage that they never aired, and I seen the inside of his visor. And
really?
That got me excited a little bit. I have it somewhere on my hard drive. I
mean, season two was rough mainly because they were going through a major transition, look. The one thing I will say about season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is they did a really good job of chopping together like pieces of Austin, Twee,
props to the editor.
Yeah, props to the editor.
Props to the editor. The editor, well, he came in the clutch and he just did it the best with what he could. That's amazing what he did actually.
It is a good filler. You're right, Jay Smooth. It is a good filler episode, but not a good finale. Oyster Stew is definitely not a good finale.
No.
So, I think that with Power Rangers, the way that it is, it's very easy to judge certain seasons based on. It's very easy to say that Mighty Morphin is the best season because, Corey, you have a lot of great points because it's the most iconic. in terms of like what it is. It started everything, but it doesn't again, and this doesn't necessarily make it the best.
Like Joe, like my favorite franchise. What's the best Fast and Furious movie?
Fast 5.
Fast 5. It's not, just because the first one started off doesn't mean it has to be the end-all, be-all.
Right. I mean, exactly right. I think that there's a lot of franchises that need growing. I think Power Rangers is one of them that needs growing. I think really what Power Rangers really needs is to step out of the Mighty Morphin comfort zone and take chances. Because, look, the seasons where we've taken the most chances is the seasons that have paid off the best for the fans. Now, granted, they could fall flat on their face, but us as fans, I think I would appreciate it more if they took a swing for the fences and fell on their face.
But the thing is they're not doing it. The reason why they haven't been taking chances and they're sticking to the norm is because there are fans out there that they hold that MMPR series so true. That's what they love and they won't see any other way. That's why the franchise as a whole. They're looking at those fans like, oh, maybe we shouldn't stray from it because there are these fans that are hardcore fans about MMPR. Maybe we should just keep giving them the same status quo,
Right. And I think that's it's admirable. Look, again, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers I'm not saying it's the worst season ever because comparatively speaking, I think that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it's hard because me personally, I don't consider MMPR as a whole. Like, I consider it season 1, season 2, and season 3. MMPR as a whole, I just don't look at it that way. Corey, I'm sure you do, right? You look at MMPR just as a whole complete thing, right?
No, because I must just rather watch season 1.
Okay.
So I break it up too.
Okay. So, because honestly, I think out of the 3, there's a lot in season 3, though, that they do really well, though. Because they actually start making you care more about Bulk and Skull as people, which I think is great. And I also like the fact in that season that, I mean, you could tell that Amy Jo was kind of like just waiting for her contract to end so she could leave. But the way they even did that made sense to me because she legitimately was like, listen, I'm going to pay respects and nothing against the 3 that left because that was a completely different circumstance. But when Amy Jo left, you could tell that they were prepping it for the next big Pink Ranger, which is kind of weird. Amy Jo should have just done the whole season because I feel like there's only 10 episodes. The cat.
Yeah, she was basically already in it. But then it was because like the in Kaku Ranger there was no Pink Ranger and Pink Ranger was hardly around, so that also worked for the footage too.
Right. I think too the franchise is going to have to man, honestly, I just think that they're gonna have to get on a better network and make a better deal. I think that it's gonna have to be it's going to have to be hard. They're going to have to make tough choices, man. Like,
what is this E network, whatever bullshit that they're doing? Is that just the production company or is that
entertainment? Oh, so it's going to be I'll give you a little teaser to my story that I'm going to release. So I'm going to give you a small piece of the story. So Entertainment One is the company that Hasbro bought that they own Peppa Pig and Death Row Records and all this other shit. They spent I think it was like $4 billion on it.
Way more than they spent for Power Rangers.
Yeah, they spent like 10 times the amount that they spent for Power Rangers. And what they're going to do is Power Rangers is now going to fall under their banner. So it's still going to be Hasbro, but Entertainment One's still going to kind of have their leg in it too. But it's going to be interesting with what's going to happen. I think, personally for me, I think that if you're looking to expand the franchise outside of what everybody already knows, it makes more sense to bring back, if you do bring back a Ranger for next season full time, to me it makes more sense to bring back somebody from Dino Thunder or Dino Charge, because that way you're expanding the world with other seasons instead of MMPR. I think they're getting too reliant on MMPR, and I think that's going to be a huge downfall later on down the line.
True. Maybe if you're to pull someone from Dino Charge who would realistically be able to carry the show, who would it be?
I mean,
who else who always comes back?
the easy choice, I think, is Tyler.
Mm-hmm. But what if they wanted to save money for the season and choose someone from New Zealand?
Well, truth be told, actually, the easy choice, honestly, is Keeper. Because if they did want to do like a sequel series with a bunch of new Rangers and then tie it in with, they could easily just bring Keeper back, but that would make it a definite sequel series.
They need to fix his face.
Yeah, they definitely need to fix his eyes because that's creepy, man. It's just fucking creepy to me, bro.
How about Heckle?
Who?
Heckle.
That would be great. I mean, I'm curious that we never got to see the Dark. I mean, the Dark Rangers. I love the Dark Rangers too.
Yeah, it's dope.
And there's 2 versions of it too.
Oh, I love this question. So the article is going to be your expectations for what E1 could do with Power Rangers? No. My article is going to be what they are going to do with Power Rangers. What they're going to do with Power Rangers. It's going to be what the future of Power Rangers is going to end up being. And I know you're like, oh, how do you know that? Just trust me on this one. And I will promise you this. There's 51 people in this chat right now. If all 51 of you, thank you so much for watching, by the way. And by the way, we all can agree that we're all fans of Power Rangers, even though we may disagree on seasons and stuff. That's cool.
Yep.
That's completely fine. I'm not going to sit here and bully you into thinking like a season's better than another season. Because truth be told, I'm just happy that there are other Power Ranger fans to talk about Power Rangers with. But in terms of the story that I'm going with, now there's 50 of you in here. I will promise you that out of the 50 of you in here, I almost guarantee you that half of you aren't going to believe the story.
Ooh.
Watch.
I want to say.
I'm telling you.
Can I say 60% or 70% of them aren't gonna believe the story?
I'm telling you right now. That the story is just as legit as when we said Austin St. John was coming back, or Dr. K was coming back, or who wasn't coming back. The story is just as legit as that. So I'm gonna promise you, a lot of you guys are gonna be like, oh, I can't believe this is the direction they're gonna go. So just you wait. They are not done casting for Dino Fury, but I know that they're getting there. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I was just thinking about this. So MorpherCon was supposed to be in September, right? Mm-hmm. And that means that they would have already had the cast of the show by August, right? Mm-hmm. That means even though they started a little bit late, they should still be on track. So that means, Jezzer, what round were we in around this time 2 years ago? Like, do you remember?
I don't.
I don't either. Like, I want to say, were we on like round 3?
Well, I felt like round 3 was around July.
So we're close to round 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I remember the way it came down. I remember you had got a text message from somebody saying, I think I saw, like at Power MorpherCon. And then you were texting her, like, are you at Power MorpherCon? Are you at Power MorpherCon?
Oh yeah, that was I remember that was like August, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we didn't know until, we didn't know that they got finished until around July.
Yeah. So I think that, it's going to be interesting because I know that they usually have to fly out like right in September to start. So it's going to be cutting it close. We're going to find out though.
Something tells me that by the end of July we'll know, or they'll have a team set up.
Something also tells me that they're not relying as heavily on people with martial arts experience this year.
No, definitely not. Because they can.
That's so annoying.
Huh?
I said they need to. That's really annoying. It bothers me. But I mean, I'm used to it, so it's whatever.
It is.
Yeah.
Don't shake your head at me, Jezzer.
It is what it is, man. I mean, majority of the time they're gonna be stunt doubles anyway. They have like the whole Japanese team there already, so.
Yeah.
I mean, like the fight scenes that they are gonna do, they can teach them on the fly.
You know, but it doesn't look the same. At least be a freaking gymnast. I don't know. It's whatever.
It's gonna be fun. I usually love tracking this. I like the fact that there's more Rangers this season too, man. Like the casting 3 Rangers was cool. I mean, I really like the cast, but I like the fact that we're gonna get more Rangers again.
I think that
I like big teams.
When even acting, I think that they're gonna skip out on actual martial artists, and they're gonna skip out on actor, like seasoned actors as well.
On the acting.
Huh?
Focus on the acting and less the physical.
I feel like they're not gonna focus. I think they're just gonna be focusing on the physical look of them again. That's my opinion. They're gonna majority of it is gonna be physical. What the look of this team's gonna look like, and that's
I feel like that's every season. Hey, honestly, for what it is, I actually think that I think the best casts have come from the Disney era.
Yeah, I mean, look
like
at
the best actors have come from the Disney.
Look
era.
at RPM. Like all of those people are like doing super well, all of them. So
yeah, they are. Like,
or at least a good portion of them.
Yeah.
RPM was such a good season, though, man.
Yeah.
I like the look of the Mystic Force team, just the look of the team.
Yeah, Mystic Force, honestly, like, that was a great casting job.
Yeah.
Like, I think Mystic Force was a good one. Like, I do want to go back and rewatch Mystic Force because I think that there's elements of it that I really would appreciate now that I shot through when I was doing my initial watch.
I saw the red Mystic Force Ranger in that one Andrew Garfield war movie.
Yeah. He's in with Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge, yeah. So like they're still getting
too?
Huh?
Isn't he like a DJ too?
I don't know. What...
He like the EDM or something like that.
Oh God.
Yeah, but I can't. I'm excited for Dino Fury because everyone tells me that this is like the Zord fights are pretty cool. So I'm not really a Zord guy. So hopefully this gets me into it.
Well, the Zord fights are pretty much like dudes in costumes like fighting. It's crazy. It's really cool.
Is it?
Well, yeah, because they move better.
It's par with the ground fighting in the Rangers the Ranger suit.
That's pretty cool. I'm down. I'm really excited about that. Like, I'm also just excited to see what the tone is because I wonder if they're gonna go more of the Dino element of like the modern day or more of the Night element like in the past. Very curious to see kind of how that shapes up.
Yep, and I think that
if they just go knights and they just so happen to be dinosaurs, then cool. I would like that better.
Yeah.
Kind of play down the dinosaur thing.
Yeah, but I'm excited for the future of Power Rangers, and everything that they're doing. I think it's gonna be. I think that things are gonna be interesting. I'm excited for Dino Fury. I'm excited for what the franchise has. I'm excited for more Lightning Collection figures. So I'm just excited to be a Power Ranger fan right now.
Yep. More comics, maybe.
I gotta catch up, man. Maybe that's our next episode. If I'm dropping this news, maybe that should be our next episode. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll figure it out.
Okay. Well, I think that wraps it up.
That does wrap it up. Wait, let's take some more comments while we have a couple of minutes.
Okay. Yeah, the commenter says, yeah, the movement is better in Ryu Soldier. Flash said, oh yeah, they should take some elements from the Mystic Force to Dino Fury. That would give it more attraction. Reason why I love Ryu Soldier is that it's more knights than dinos. Not a story, but still hits. So they didn't really like the story. I hope they don't. Yeah, I hope they don't go with this another high school theme.
Oh, I'm gonna lose my freaking mind. They put them in high school again.
It's a TV show. They need to. They said it's a TV show. They need better acting. I mean, not for a show like this. It's a toy commercial. I don't know.
It is a toy commercial.
It's a toy commercial. It's not necessarily a show.
It is a toy commercial, and if you can turn a toy commercial into like a good story, kudos to you.
And I think with Beast Morphers, they got lucky with some of the actors that they got. But initially, this casting director is not looking for actors; they're just looking for, pretty people to look at. And they just.
Well, I think they're looking for decent actors. I just don't think they're looking for martial artists. I do think that the season is going to take place in high school, but it's going to be the first episode is going to be a high school reunion. So I'm just kidding. Imagine,
Bro, man,
the first episode.
He's just trying to piss off Corey right now.
It's a high school reunion.
I can deal with that. A bunch of 20-year-olds coming through. I'm like, all right, I can deal with that.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, man. You guys are awesome. What else do we want to talk about in the Power Ranger community? Anything bothering anybody in the Power Ranger community? I'm cool with it right now.
Nothing's happening.
I could care less about it right now. There's so much shit going on.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not even really paying attention. That's why you guys be like, "Hey, guess what happened?" I'm like, "What? I don't know."
Yeah.
I've been
Well,
working.
you know why? You know why it's been quiet in the Power Ranger community? Is because there's no cons for drama to go down.
Ooh. There's still. I'm sure if we look into some of these ranger groups, we can find some drama going on between them. They're, it's relentless. Some of them are relentless. So I mean, you just gotta
haven't been
dig.
on
I just don't have the
Facebook
time to dig.
Rangers in years.
Say what?
I haven't been on Facebook Rangers in years.
There's a
Dude,
ton.
they won't let me into Facebook Rangers.
Because you're too cool, Joe. You're too cool for them.
They wouldn't. I tried getting in. They wouldn't let me in there.
That's funny.
Mm.
Let's see.
There's nothing going on in there.
I could care less. To be
I
honest
could
with
care.
you.
Yeah,
I really,
it's getting to a point where there's so much shit going on.
I like doing my own Ranger stuff, man. I just one of my writers, Bryce and I, we had a really good conversation about like how because we're doing this Cause Protector thing. Oh, by the way, we're changing up the Patreon. So I think we're launching. It's gonna be on the same thing on Patreon. So if you already subscribed there, it'll still be there. But we're changing the tier sections, and I think it's a lot more. It flows a lot better, and there's a lot more cooler things you'll be able to do with us. But I think that'll be a lot of fun. I'm trying to think what else is coming up that I can think of.
Flash says, will the number of seasons for Dino Fury be revealed in that article?
No.
Nope. No.
No.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with Dino Fury.
It actually does. It actually does have to do with Dino Fury a little bit, but it's you'll see. It has to do with Dino Fury. It has to do with Dino Fury, kind of. You'll see. You'll just see. Just wait for the article. It'll be out in a few days. Let me just say. So I was thinking like a lot of things that we're gonna do differently. I know that the retro team for the Patreon, they're gonna start doing like live watch-alongs now with their show, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more new Power Ranger content that we're doing, which I think is a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that it's gonna be fun. What we have in store is fun. Oh, I was talking to Bryce though. We were talking about adapting other seasons for Power Rangers, and those conversations that I have with like him and JD, Corey, you've been on some of those calls. Those are a lot of fun because those really dictate how you can make Power Rangers into a good season. I think that there's a lot that you can do that I'm curious why they don't pull the trigger on.
I mean, if you think about it, it really isn't that hard. They just need to put a little effort into it.
Yeah, I think I'm very curious though to see like what they like when they have a script and a meeting for, because they do 3 shows in a week, right?
Yeah.
So obviously they're writing shows kind of quickly, but I wonder how the approval process works.
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
I've been talking to some of the Beast Morphers cast, trying to figure out when this whole pandemic thing's gonna die down, because I do, once the actual finale shows, I do want to have them all as like a little wrap up episode, you know, like just have them talk about the series and how they felt, because they're still tied right now because they can't talk about it because it kind of hasn't been, you know, released worldwide yet, so it's gonna be fun.
I also don't know why they don't release Power Rangers worldwide. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Yep.
I am excited
says,
for the future of Power Rangers. This has been a fun show. How many did we go? Almost 2 hours.
Almost 2 more, about a minute and 20 seconds.
Oh wow! Let's just all right. In this next minute and 20 seconds, do AMA real quick and just cancel us out for 2 hours.
AMA.
Okay. Hope you guys do some more AMAs with Cosmic Protectors. Yes, that is planned. Thea Games 10 says yes. Yeah, be patient for the article. LOL. Yes. Flash says thanks, Joe. You and your team have done a lot for the Ranger community, and we really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hey, we thank you for just tuning in. Honestly, you guys give us way too much credit, man. The Ranger community is you guys. You guys keep it going. You guys are the reason why we do this show. You guys are everything in the Ranger community. Like I've said before, and like I've said in the years past, use your voice and use your social media. The way you get Power Rangers to be better is to let people know you want better stuff from it. Yeah. Like, I sometimes think that we get so used to just getting things, and we get so excited, even though they're dog shit, we get so excited about them that we're like, oh no, this is cool. And then we get it, and then it's like, oh man, this fucking really sucked. I feel that like initially sometimes we have that feeling inherently when we get something and we're like, this is what we're getting? Really? What the fuck? But like, you know what I mean? So like, let your voice be heard. I'm not saying go out there and bash people, but what I'm saying is that if they're making a show that you guys are watching, and you're sinking your money into it with all these figures or whatever else you're buying from the product, then at least get what you want. You know what I mean? At least try to make it what you want it to be. I just, like I said, we can have disagreements in the fandom, but all the disagreements I'm going to have with all you guys is going to be pretty civil. Because at the end of the day, I know Corey likes MMPR, and I give him a lot of shit for it. But he knows I'm kidding, and he also knows that, like, that's great. I'm actually happy that he likes MMPR. It might not be my favorite season, but it doesn't mean it's not somebody's favorite season. And that's perfectly okay to be cool, like that be your favorite season. That's fine. But yeah, I don't know, just be cool. Just be cool with everybody, you know?
If you like Operation Overdrive, I got issues with you.
Me too.
JD's currently rewatching that back. So yeah.
I question your taste in content that you watch. No, anybody that likes Operation Overdrive.
Oh yeah, that man. So
I can't even, man. Like, if people that shit on Mystic Force, Mystic Force isn't that bad. Like, I've been watching a little bit of it. Yeah.
Mystic Force is fun.
Operation Overdrive.
I was thinking. So right now I'm going back and because I've never really watched Star Trek, so I'm going back and watching like starting from Enterprise. It's pretty good. So I'm thinking I might do the same thing with Power Rangers, just starting it from MMPR all over again, and just kind of doing I don't know if I want to do like a recap or I don't know what I want to do, but I'm thinking I might get like all the people involved and just do something together. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is gonna.
I think we extended our time though, guys.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching and joining us on your Saturday. Like I say, every Saturday, you could be anywhere else in the world. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us, and we truly, truly, truly do appreciate it. Corey, where can everyone find you on social medias?
C Gibson Rex, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram.
Joe
Illuminerdi on all social media. So just find me there.
Yeah, and we'll be keeping an eye out for that article coming out soon. You can find me on all social media at Jesus. Be sure to check out the Retro Ranger wrap up tomorrow. They're having one tomorrow, right? It's Elle and Josh.
Josh, and Daniel.
Oh, Josh, and Daniel, and then we also have the wrestling show going on. You guys should check that out because those two are amazing and real fun bunch of people.
And hell, we might even do a Twitch stream tomorrow because a few of us are getting together and hanging out. So, yeah, we might do a fun Twitch stream, something different.
Yeah.
Something different. I want to do more Power Ranger stuff, but we also want you guys to watch some of our other stuff. Go and support some of our other shows and our other content. We have great people here. And if you guys want to join us at the Illuminerdi and want to contribute in any way, hit us up at media@the-Illuminerdi. We can always use got people like you guys in here, whether it be on social media, whether it be as writers. Just let us know how you want to contribute and what you think you can do. And we'll be more than willing to listen because we want to build an army to take over the Power Ranger community and the world.
Army. Yep.
That's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Bye-bye.